How to live stress-free. Introduction. These days, everyone's feeling pressure. We rush at work, we rush at home, there's always so much that needs to be done. Stress and anxiety have become a part of our lives. But how do we deal with it? Most people don't. Stress causes havoc on our bodies. Let it rage free and stress will make you sick. The statistics are staggering. 1 in every 8 Americans between the ages of 18 and 54 suffers from an anxiety disorder. This totals over 19 million people. Research conducted by the National Institute of Mental Health has shown that anxiety disorders are the most common mental illness, surpassing even depression. Women are affected almost twice as much as men, and it's the #1 mental health problem among this gender. Men are not unaffected, though. Anxiety disorders in males are second only to alcohol and drug abuse. Anxiety not only takes a toll on our health, but on our checkbooks, to the tune of $46.6 billion annually in the United States. Anxiety sufferers see an average of 5 doctors before being successfully diagnosed. Stress and anxiety go hand in hand. One of the major symptoms of stress is anxiety, and stress accounts for 80% of all illnesses, directly or indirectly. Stress is more dangerous than originally thought. You probably already know that it can raise your blood pressure, increasing the likelihood of a stroke. But recently, it's been claimed that 90% of visits to a primary care physician were because of stress-related disorders. Health Psychology magazine reports that chronic stress can interfere with the normal function of the body's immune system, and studies have proven that stressed individuals have an increased vulnerability to catching illness and are more susceptible to allergic, autoimmune, or cardiovascular diseases. Doctors agree that during chronic stress, the functions of the body that are non-essential to survival, such as the digestive and immune system, shut down. Stress is making us sick. Furthermore, stress often prompts people to respond in unhealthy ways, such as smoking, drinking alcohol, eating poorly, or becoming physically inactive. This damages the body in addition to the wear and tear of the stress itself. You can't eliminate stress as part of your life. You can, however, manage it. It's how you react that makes the difference. Coping techniques will help you control stress so that you can maintain your health and your happiness. I have suffered from anxiety disorders caused by stress for years. I've learned of ways to cope with some and dealing with the mechanisms that help me to manage it. This book is a combination of my own experiences and advice from experts. It will provide you with the tools that you can use when you're in a stressful situation. I've also outlined different ways that you can use to face debilitating anxiety and panic attacks. Plus, I will share some amazing information that's helped me. Let's reduce the effects of stress and anxiety from your life. Why are we so stressed out? We're living in very trying times and difficult times. Technology and advancements have made things more complicated than our simple life that our ancestors used to have. Sometimes life can be terribly painful and unfair. Why do some people manage to get through it easier than others? They have better tools. Society as a whole is more stressed. Millions of people are in record levels of debt. Many are losing their jobs, their homes, their health, and sometimes even their sanity. Worry, depression, and anxiety seem to have become a part of life. It seems like we entered the age of anxiety. In fact, Time magazine once proclaimed that this is one of their issues. The constant stress and uncertainties of living in the 21st century have certainly taken their toll. The result is that many people are now living in a state of constant fear and worry. When the 9/11 terrorist attacks happened, this became magnified. In fact, even now, years later, people report they're still a little bit scared every day. They worry that something of that magnitude will happen again. Turn on the news or open up a newspaper and you're bombarded with disturbing images and stories. You begin to wonder if you're safe anywhere. The information age is providing us access to endless data. Most of what is covered in the media is unsettling and disturbing news. Having more women in the workplace adds to the stress. Many women feel that the need to be everything to everyone, and that includes a paycheck earner, housekeeper, mother, wife, daughter, and sibling. Trying to cram everything in and do it well is a huge stress factor. Women are so busy doing that they don't make the time for themselves, and they get to feel guilty. This cycle is a losing one, and it's driving stress levels to an all-time high. Even children can feel the pressure and stress of anxiety. Teenagers who want to go to college feel pressure to obtain scholarships. They need part-time jobs in order to earn money for extras that their parents can no longer afford. Add peer pressure into the mix, and you have a terrible pressure cooker. Cell phones, internet, Palm Pilots, Blackberries, iPods, we're always on the go and always reachable. There's no downtime in life anymore. We're so busy that we've forgotten how to relax, and our minds are constantly going over what needs to be done. We feel pressure to do these things because we think we have to, not because we want to. It's difficult for people just to say no. Not saying that one little word piles up unneeded expectations and obligations that make us feel anxious. All of us will experience situations that may cause us to be a little stressed and feel anxious. The reasons are endless, but here's a few of the common stress triggers: buying a property, career pressures, having guests stay over, being bullied, exams, looking after children, managing finances, relationship issues, deaths, illness, and even traveling. Stress is a normal function of everyday life. Only when it starts to take over your life does it become a problem. Everyone reacts to stress situations differently. It's usually when we don't feel in control of a situation that we feel its grip tightening around us, causing extreme stress. Regain that control and lose the stress. You have everything inside you that you need to overcome stress and the accompanying anxiety. You can gain the upper hand on stress. Let's look at the barriers we put up and how we can prevent ourselves from becoming stressful and to become healthy and getting rid of our anxiety. Blocking behaviors, keeping your stress alive. There are 3 obsessive behaviors that you are likely to be engaging in that impede your healing process and stop you from enjoying life. Recognizing these barriers is the first step toward getting rid of some of the problems that happen when you're too stressed. The first is obsessive negativity. When you're obsessively negative, it means that you have a tendency toward looking at all the things you don't like about people, places, situations, and things in your life. Is your cup half full or half empty? I believe it's half full, and you can too. If your internal voice is telling you things like, you can't do this, or no one understands, or nothing ever works, you're sending yourself negative signals. You may be doing this unconsciously, so you need to tune into this voice. It could be holding you back, and knowing what it's like to view life from a positive lens and enjoy the beauty in yourself and people around you. There's a whole world out there for you with happiness and positive thinking. Then you have obsessive perfectionism. When you engage in obsessive perfectionism, you are centered on trying to do everything, just so, to the point of driving yourself into an anxious state of being. You may find yourself making statements such as, I have to do this right or I'll be a failure, or I'm not precise. People will be mad at me and they won't like me anymore. Again, this behavior may be totally under the threshold of your awareness, but it interferes greatly with your ability to enjoy things without feeling uptight and stressed. Finally, there's obsessive analysis. When you're obsessed about analyzing things, you might find yourself wanting to rehash a task or an issue over and over again. For instance, you might find yourself making statements such as, I need to look this over, study it, and know it inside out, or else I can't relax. Or if I relax and let things go without looking them over repeatedly, things go wrong. While analytical thinking is an excellent trait, if it's done in excess, you never can get to stop and smell the roses because you're too busy trying to analyze everything and everyone around you. Gaining insight into this type of behavior is one of the most important keys to letting go of stress and getting complete power over your anxiety. If you find yourself engaged in any of the above blocking behaviors, there are 2 things you can do to help yourself stop. First, ask the people you know, love, and trust, am I negative about things? Do I complain a lot? And am I difficult to be around? This may be hard for you to listen to, as the truth sometimes hurts, but the insight you'll get from others' assessment of you is invaluable. You'll know precisely how others see you. Accept their comments as helpful information, and you'll gain insight about yourself. Second, keep a journal to write down and establish patterns of when you are using blocking behaviors. Even if you're not thrilled with the idea of writing, you can make little entries into a notebook or journal each day. The great part is you'll begin to see patterns in your behavior that reveal exactly what you're doing to prevent yourself from curing your anxiety. We'll give you some great stress-busting techniques later in this book, but you need to recognize these blockages first so you can move into the healing stage and conquer your stress and anxiety. Many people think that stress and anxiety is the same thing, and this couldn't be further from the truth. stress or anxiety? Contrary to popular belief, there is a difference between stress and anxiety. Stress comes from the pressure we feel in life as we are pushed by work or any other task that puts undue pressure on our minds and body. Adrenaline is released. Extended stay of the hormones causes depression, a rise in the blood pressure, and other negative changes and effects. One of these negative effects is anxiety. With anxiety, fear overcomes all emotions accompanied by worrying about apprehension, making a person a recluse and full of jitters. Other symptoms are chest pains, dizziness, and shortness of breath, and panic attacks. Stress is caused by something happening in our life now. Anxiety, stress that continues after the stressor is gone. Stress can come from any situation or thought that makes you feel frustrated, angry, nervous, or even anxious. What is stressful to one person may not be stressful to another. Anxiety is a feeling of apprehension or fear and is almost always accompanied by feelings of impending doom. The source of this uneasiness is not always known or recognized, which can add to the distress that you feel. Stress is the way our bodies and minds react to something which upsets our normal balance in life. An example of stress is the response we feel when we're frightened or threatened. During stressful events, our adrenaline glands release adrenaline, a hormone which activates our body's defense mechanisms, causing our hearts to pound, blood pressure to rise, muscles to tense, and the pupils in our eyes to dilate. A principal indication of increased stress is an escalation in your pulse rate. However, a normal pulse rate doesn't necessarily mean that you aren't stressed. Constant aches and pains, palpitations, anxiety, chronic fatigue, crying, over or under eating, frequent infections, and a decrease in your sexual desires are signs that indicate that you might be under stress. Of course, every time we're under stress, we do not react to such an extreme, and we are not always under such great duress or fear every time we are confronted with a stressful situation. Some people are more susceptible than others to stress. For some, even ordinary daily decisions seem insurmountable. Deciding what to have for dinner or what to buy at the store is a seemingly monumental dilemma for them. On the other hand, there are those people who seem to thrive under stress by becoming highly productive, being driven by the force of pressure. Research shows that women who have children have higher levels of stress-related hormones in their blood than women without children. This does not mean that women without children don't experience stress. Absolutely not. It means that women without children may not experience stress as often or to the same degree with which women with children have. This means for women with children, it's particularly important to schedule time for yourself. You'll be in a better frame of mind to help your children and meet the daily challenge of being a parent once your stress level is reduced. Anxiety, on the other hand, is a feeling of unease. Everybody experiences it when faced with stressful situations. For example, before an exam or an interview, or during worrying times such as an illness. It's normal to feel anxious when facing something difficult or dangerous, and mild anxiety can be a positive and useful experience. However, for many people, anxiety interferes with normal life. Excessive anxiety is often associated with other psychiatric conditions such as depression. Anxiety is considered abnormal when it is very prolonged or severe. It happens in the absence of a stressful event, or it's interfering with everyday activities such as going to work. The physical symptoms of anxiety are caused by the brain sending messages to parts of the body to prepare for the fight or flight response. The heart, lungs, and other parts of the body work faster. The brain also releases stress hormones, including adrenaline. Common indicators of excessive anxiety include diarrhea, dry mouth, rapid heartbeat or palpitations, insomnia, irritability or anger, inability to concentrate, fear of being crazy, feeling unreal or not in control of your actions, which is called depersonalization. Anxiety can be brought on in many ways. Obviously, the presence of stress in your life can make you have anxious thoughts. Many people who suffer from anxiety disorders occupy their minds with excessive worry. This can be worry about anything from health matters to job problems to world issues. Certain drugs, both recreational and medicinal, can also lead to symptoms of anxiety due to either side effects or withdrawal from the drug. Such drugs include caffeine, alcohol, nicotine, cold remedies, and decongestants, bronchodilators for asthma, tricyclic antidepressants, cocaine, amphetamines, diet pills, ADHD medications, and thyroid medications. A poor diet can also contribute to stress or anxiety. For example, low levels of vitamin B12. Performance anxiety is related to specific situations like taking a test or making a presentation in public. Post-traumatic stress disorder is a stress disorder that develops after a traumatic event like war, physical or sexual assault, or natural disaster. In very rare cases, a tumor or the adrenal gland may be the cause of anxiety. This happens because of an overproduction of hormones responsible for the feelings and symptoms of anxiety. While anxiety may seem a bit scary, what's even scarier is that excessive anxiety and stress can lead to depression. Suffering from depression can be a lifelong struggle, but the good news is that all of us can manage it. So let's take a few little quizzes to see if you are suffering from too much stress, excessive anxiety, or depression. Quiz time. Before you begin here, you need to know that we are not medical professionals. This information has come from reliable sources and isn't meant to be a complete diagnostic tool in any way. These quizzes are simple guidelines to help you recognize any problems that you may be having to effectively deal with those problems. Because depression can be the most serious of our topics, let's start by seeing if you may be depressed. Keep in mind that everyone has his or her blue days. The thing that separates clinical depression from simple melancholy is that the symptoms occur over a long period of time. They don't come and go. They stay around for a while and can affect your life adversely. Ask yourself the following questions. Answer yes if you've been feeling this way consistently over a period of 2 weeks. Do you find yourself constantly sad? Number 2, are you unmotivated to do things like take a shower, clean up the house, or make dinner? Number 3, do people tell you you're overly irritable? Number 4, do you have trouble concentrating? Number 5, are you feeling isolated from family and friends even when they're around you? Number 6, have you lost interest in your favorite activities? Number 7, do you feel hopeless, worthless, or guilty for no reason at all? Number 8, are you always tired or have trouble sleeping? Number 9, has your weight fluctuated significantly? If you can answer yes to 5 or more of those questions, you could be suffering from clinical depression. It's most important for you to seek out the help of medical professionals, whether it's a doctor or a therapist. There are many medications out there that can help you with depression. I always tried to deny my own depression, but once I began taking an antidepressant, I couldn't believe what a difference that one pill a day made. It gave me freedom from the black hole I had fallen into and helped me enjoy life again. If you think you're depressed, act now. You deserve to be happy. Let's see if stress and anxiety are taking over in your life. Ask yourself the following. Do you worry constantly and talk to yourself negatively? Do you have difficulty concentrating? Do you get mad and react easily? Do you have recurring neck pain or headaches? Do you grind your teeth? Do you frequently feel overwhelmed, anxious, or depressed? Do you feel your stress with unhealthy habits, such as eating or drinking excessively, smoking, arguing, or avoiding yourself and life in other ways? Do small pleasures fail to satisfy you? Do you experience flashes of anger or over minor problems? If you can answer yes to most of these questions, then you have excessive stress in your life. The good news is that you've bought this book and you'll learn the many valuable techniques that you can use to eliminate stress. But we'll get back to this in a minute. Let's move on to anxiety. Number 1, do you experience shortness of breath, heart palpitations, or shaking while at rest? Number 2, do you have fear of losing control or going crazy? Number 3, do you avoid social situations because of fear? Number 4, do you have fears of specific objects? Number 5, do you fear that you will be in a place or a situation from which you cannot escape? Number 6, do you feel afraid of leaving your home? Number 7, do you have recurring thoughts or images that refuse to go away? Number 8, do you feel compelled to perform certain activities repeatedly? Number 9, do you persistently relive an upsetting event from the past? Answering yes to more than 4 of these questions can indicate an anxiety disorder. Suffering from depression, too much stress, or excessive anxiety can endanger your overall health, and it's time to take steps to overcome this now. Stress and anxiety affects many factors in our body, not only our mental state. Cancer and other deadly diseases are related to stress and anxiety because of the changes in the chemical composition of our body. Don't be a victim of stress and anxiety. Discipline, a proper schedule, and knowing your limitations will help. Learn your limitations and stick to it. Do not overexert yourself. Just try to go over the border an inch at a time. You can lead a productive, successful, and fulfilling life and career without endangering your health. Living with anxiety will slowly kill you while driving your friends and family away. Stress and anxiety can lead to panic attacks, which can be a serious situation. Now let's explore that subject a little bit more. Panic attacks. One of the unfortunate outcomes from suffering from excessive stress and anxiety is a physical reaction of your body to the situation. It's like your body's telling you that you need to rest, but for a moment. Except when you're having a panic attack. It's anything but restful. I had my first panic attack while my husband and I were driving home from a football game. We were about 30 miles from our home when I began to feel a bit off. I was having trouble breathing, and my body felt disconnected, and my heart was beating at what seemed to be a speed like 90 miles an hour. I pulled the van off to the side of the highway and got out hoping to walk it off, but it didn't work. No matter what I tried, I couldn't catch my breath. I felt like I was dying. I remember saying over and over again, "Please, not now, I'm not ready." It was horrifying. The good news, I wasn't dying, but that night was the beginning of a terrible journey for me. Stress had taken over my life and was now affecting my entire body. Since then, I've had many panic attacks, and I've learned how to recognize that one is coming and how to control it. Let's look at the signs of an impending panic attack. Palpitations, a pounding heart or an accelerated heart rate, sweating, trembling or shaking, shortness of breath, a choking sensation, chest pain or discomfort, nausea or stomach cramps, derealization, fear of losing control or going crazy, the fear of dying, a numbness or a tingling sensation in your face and limbs, and chills or hot flashes. You would be surprised at how many people go to the hospital emergency room completely sure they're having a heart attack, only to find out that it's a panic attack. They're that intense. It's very difficult for your loved ones to imagine or even understand what you're going through when you have a panic attack. They may lose patience with you, tell you to get over it, or think you're faking. It may help if you show them the following scenario. If you're standing in line at the grocery store, it's been a long wait, but there's only one customer to go before you make it to the cashier. Wait, what was that? An unpleasant feeling forms in your throat. Your chest feels tighter. Now suddenly a shortness of breath happens, and what do you know? Your heart skips a beat. Please, God, not here. You make a quick scan of the territory. Is it threatening? 4 unfriendly faces are behind you, and 1 person is in front of you. Pins and needles seem to prick you through your left arm. You feel slightly dizzy, and then the explosion of fear as you dread the worst. You're about to have a panic attack. There's no doubt in your mind that this is going to happen and it's going to be a big one. Okay, time for you to focus. You know how to deal with this. At least you hope you do. Start breathing deeply, in through your nose and out through your mouth. Think relaxing thoughts, and again, while breathing in, think relax, and then breathe out. But it doesn't seem to be having any positive effect. In fact, just concentrating on breathing is making you feel self-conscious and more uptight. Maybe you need to just try and relax your muscles. Tense both shoulders, hold for 10 seconds, then release. Try it again. Nope, still no difference. The anxiety is getting worse, and the very fact that you are not being able to cope using the techniques worsens your panic. If only you're with a family member or a close friend, then you could feel more confident in dealing with the situation. The adrenaline is pumping through your system. Your body is tingling with uncomfortable sensations. You feel like you're losing complete control of your emotions. No one around you has any idea of the sheer terror that you're experiencing. For them, it's just another regular day and another frustratingly slow line at the grocery store. You realize you're out of options. It's time to run. You excuse yourself from the line, looking embarrassed because it's your turn to pay. The cashier looks bewildered when you leave your shopping behind and stroll towards the door. There's no time for excuses. You need to be alone. You leave the supermarket and get into your car and ride it out alone. You wonder whether or not this one was the big one. The one you fear will push you over the edge mentally and physically. 10 minutes later, the panic subsides. It's only 11 o'clock in the morning. How in the world can you make it through the rest of the day? If you suffer from panic or anxiety attacks, the above scenario probably sounds very familiar. It may even be induced feelings of anxiety and panic just reading it. In fact, it was difficult for me just to write it. The particular situations that trigger your panic and anxiety may differ. Maybe the bodily sensations are a little different. What's important to realize is that panic attacks are very real to the people who are having them, and they should never be pushed off to the side. I remember one evening at home when I was by myself watching one of my favorite television programs. I thought I was in a safe place. There was no obvious trigger, and I felt completely relaxed. Out of nowhere, I began having the symptoms of a panic attack. The four walls in my living room were closing in around me. I couldn't breathe, and I felt like I was dying. I stepped out on my front porch for some fresh air and began deep breathing exercises. The symptoms eventually went away, but it left me wondering why exactly I had the attack. There are no obvious reasons, no stressful situation, and no indication that a panic attack might be impending. That's the strange thing about panic. Sometimes your mind can play tricks on you. Even when you think there's no danger of having a panic attack, your brain might feel differently. That's the scary part. The good part is that there's always ways to combat panic attacks and cope much better when you find yourself in that situation. Dealing with panic attacks. If you have panic attacks, it may help to comfort you that you're not alone. You're not even one in a million. In America, it's estimated that almost 5% of the population suffer from some sort of anxiety disorder. For some, it may be the infrequent panic attacks that only crop up in particular situations, like when you have to speak in front of others, while for other people, it can be frequent and reoccurring, and it inhibits them from leaving their home. Frequent panic attacks often develop into what medical physicians refer to as anxiety disorder. There are many ways of coping with an anxiety disorder. Some may not work for you, but others just might. It helps to know some of the most common coping techniques for dealing with panic attacks when they begin. Your first step is to recognize when a panic attack is about to begin. When you have enough of them, you start to really pay attention to the tingling sensation, the shortness of breath, and the disconnection from the real life around you. Many people I talk to wonder what that disconnection is like. They have a hard time understanding it. Those of us who have panic attacks are all too familiar with it. It's like you look at a solid object to see it and see that it's not there. You know it's there, but a part of your mind doubts that it really is there. You may find yourself reaching out to touch an object just to be sure. You feel like you're not a part of the world around you. It's as if you're just a spectator in your own life and you have no control over anything around you. This is a horrible feeling. How do you start trying to combat your panic attacks? What if I told you the trick to ending panic and anxiety attacks is to want to have one? That sounds strange, even contradictory, doesn't it? But the way really does help push it away. Does this mean that you should be able to bring on a panic attack at this very moment? Absolutely not. What it means is that when you're afraid of something, in this case a panic attack, it'll be more likely to appear and wreak havoc. But when you stand up to the attack, your chances of fending it off are much greater. If you resist a situation out of fear, the fear around that issue will persist. How do you stop resisting? You move directly into it, into the path of the anxiety, and by doing so, it cannot persist. In essence, what this means is that if you daily voluntarily seek to have a panic attack, you cannot have one. Try in this very moment to have a panic attack, and I guarantee you, you cannot. You may not realize it, but you've always decided to panic. You make the choice by saying, this is beyond my control, whether it be consciously or subconsciously. Another way to appreciate this is to imagine having a panic attack as like standing on the edge of a cliff. The anxiety seemingly pushes you closer to falling over the edge. To be rid of your fear, you must metaphorically jump. You must jump off the cliff and into the anxiety and the fear and all the things that you fear most. How do you jump? You jump by wanting to have a panic attack. Your real safety is the fact that a panic attack will never harm you. That's a medical fact. Anxiety causes an imbalance in your life whereby all of the mental worry creates a top-heavy sensation. All of your focus is moved from the center of your body to your head. Schools of meditation often like to demonstrate an example of this top-heavy imbalance by showing how easily the body can lose its sense of center. The key to overcoming panic attacks is to relax. That's easy to say, but difficult to do. A good way to do this is to concentrate on your breathing, making sure it's slow and steady. One of the first signs of a panic attack is difficulty breathing, and you may find yourself panting to catch your breath. When you focus on making those breaths even, your heart rate will slow down and the panic will subside. Breathing more slowly and deeply has a calming effect too. A good way to breathe easier is to let all the air out of your lungs. This focuses your lungs to reach for a deeper breath next time. Continue to focus on your out of breath, letting all the air out of your lungs, and as soon you'll find that your breathing is deeper and you feel calmer. Ideally, you want to take the focus off the fact that you're having a panic attack. Try to press your feet one at a time into the ground. Feel how connected and rooted they are to the ground. An even better way is to lie down with your bottom near a wall. Place your feet against the wall, your knees bent apart, and press your feet one at a time into the wall. If you can breathe in as you press your foot against the wall and breathe out as you release it, it'll be more effective. You should alternate between your feet. Do this for about 10 to 15 minutes or until the panic attack subsides. Use all your senses to take full notice of what you see, hear, feel, and smell in your environment. This will help you to remain present. Panic is generally associated with remembering upsetting events from the past or anticipating something upsetting in the future. Anything that helps keep you focused in the present will be calming. Try holding a pet, looking around your room and noticing the colors, textures, and shapes, listening closely to the sounds you hear, or call a friend, or smell the smells that are near you. Many people strongly advocate aromatherapy to deal with panic and anxiety. Lavender can have an especially calming and soothing effect when you smell it. You can find essential oil of lavender at many stores. Keep it handy and take a sniff when you start feeling anxious. Try putting a few drops of lavender essence oil into some oil, olive or grapeseed oil, and rub it on your body. Keep a prepared mixture in a dark glass bottle for when you need it. You can even prepare several bottles with a small one to carry with you. Other essential oils that are known to help panic and panic attacks are helichrysum, frankincense, and marjoram. Smell each of them and use what smells best to you, or a combination of your favorite oils mixed in olive or grapeseed oil. You may want to prepare yourself before a panic attack happens. When you're not in a panicked state, make a list of the things that you are afraid of that are going to happen or that could happen. Then write out calming things that tell you the opposite of your fears. Then you can repeat those to yourself when the panic starts to come. Prepare a list of things to do in case of a panic attack, and it will be ready for you when you need it. Fill it with lots of soothing messages and ideas of calming things to do. I find this to be a very helpful tool. I'm never without my small notebook that has all these positive affirmations in it. Panic can be a very scary thing to go through, especially if you're alone. Preparing for when the panic attack arrives can really help reduce the panic and even sometimes helps to prevent it. Another great tool to combating anxiety and stress is to use visualization. Calm yourself with visualization. The purpose of visualization is to enable you to quickly clear mental stress, tension, and anxious thinking. The visualization can be used when feeling stressed and is particularly useful when your mind is racing with fearful, anxious thinking. This visualization process, when practiced frequently, is very effective for eliminating deep-seated mental anxieties or intrusive thoughts. To maintain maximum benefit, the exercise must be carried out for longer than 10 minutes at a time, as anything shorter will not bring noticeable results. There is no right or wrong way to carry out the visualization. Be intuitive with it, and do not feel that you're unable to carry it out if you feel that you are not very good at seeing mental imagery. As long as your attention is on the exercise, you will gain benefit. It's best to do this exercise in a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, and then when you're more practiced, you'll be able to do the same positive results in a busier environment, such as in the workplace. You should notice a calming effect on your state of mind, along with a sensation of mental release and relaxation. Either sitting or standing, close your eyes and move your attention from your breath. To become aware of your breathing, place one hand on your upper chest and one hand on your stomach. Take a breath and let your stomach swell forward as you breathe in and fall back gently as you breathe out. Take the same depth of breath each time and try to get a steady rhythm going. Your hand on your chest should have little or no movement. Again, try to take the same deep breath each time that you breathe in. This is called diaphragmatic breathing. When you feel comfortable with this technique, try to slow down your breathing rate down by instituting a short pause after you've breathed out and before you breathe in again. Initially, it may feel as though you're not getting enough air in, but with regular practice, this slow rate will soon start to feel comfortable. It's often helpful to develop a cycle where you count to 3 when you breathe in, pause, and then count to 3 when you breathe out, or 2 or 4, whatever is comfortable for you. This will also help you focus on your breathing without any other thoughts coming into your mind. If you're aware of other thoughts entering your mind, just let them go and bring your attention back to counting and breathing. Continue doing this for a few minutes. If you practice this, you'll begin to strengthen the diaphragmatic muscles, and it will start to look and work normally for you, leaving you with a nice, relaxed feeling all the time. Now move your attention to your feet. Try to really feel your feet. See if you can feel each toe. Picture the base of your feet and visualize roots growing slowly out down through the soles and down to the earth. The roots are growing with quickening pace and are reaching deep into the soil of the earth. You are now rooted firmly to the earth and feel stable like a large oak or redwood tree. Stay with this feeling of grounded safety and security for a few moments. Once you've created a strong feeling or impression of being grounded like a tree, visualize a cloud of bright light forming way above you. A bolt of lightning from the luminous cloud hits the crown of your head and ignites a band of bright white descending light that comes slowly over your head all the way down your body and over your legs and past your toes. As the band of light passes over you, feel it clearing your mental state. It's illuminating your mind and clearing any disturbing or stressful thoughts that you may have or have been thinking about. Repeat this image 4 or 5 times until you feel a sense of cleansing and clearing and release from the anxious thinking. In finishing, see yourself standing under a large luminescent waterfall. The water is radiant and bubbling with vitality and life. As you stand under the waterfall, you can feel the water running over every inch of your body, soothing you and instilling you with a sense of deep calm. Try to taste the water. Open your mouth and let it run into your mouth, refreshing you. Hear it as it bounces off the ground around you. The water is life itself and is washing away stress and worry from your body. After a moment, open your eyes. Try to use all your senses when carrying out this visualization. To make the pictures in your mind as real as possible, use your senses of touch, taste, and hearing. Feel the water trickling down your body. Hear the sound it makes as it splashes over you. The more realistic the imagined scenarios, the more benefit you'll gain. Many people report very beneficial and soothing results from just these simple visualizations frequently. The mind is much like a muscle in that in order to relax, it needs regular release of what it's holding on to. You can use any situation or location that will help to calm you. We listen to things like finding your happy place. Maybe you feel relaxed in a swimming pool or on the beach. Imagine yourself there. Just make sure whenever you go into your mind, it's a place where you can be calm and rested. By visualizing the different situations, you are allowing your mind to release. It's like sending a message to your brain that when you close your eyes and begin this process, it's time for letting go, and anything that's been mentally holding on to you, including anxious thinking, will dissolve. In order to train your mind how to let go of the stress, it's important to practice this daily. With practice, you can learn to release all stress within minutes of starting the experience. Your daily practice should be taken before going to bed, so that will enable you to sleep more soundly. Many people do not do these visualizations in the bedroom, but some other room before going to bed. That way, when you enter the bedroom and close the door, you're leaving the mental stress and anxious thinking behind you. Just be sure that you have the opportunity to totally concentrate on your mental images. Visualization is a tool for dealing with mental stress, and it's very effective. If such visualization is carried out properly, you can reach a deep feeling of inner calm. This technique probably will not work in helping to end an anxiety attack, but it can help that attack from beginning. It's a very powerful support tool for your ridding yourself of general anxiety sensations. With practice, you can go days without having anxious thinking interrupt your life, and importantly, this significantly reduces the level of general anxiety that you feel. Visualization is a tool that you can use to overcome anxious thoughts and feelings. Let's look at various ways that you can combat excessive stress, beginning with music. Using music to beat stress. Listening to music will also alleviate stress. Everyone has different tastes in music. You should listen to the music that makes you feel comfortable. Sitting down and forcing yourself to listen to relaxation music that you don't like may create stress, not alleviate it. Music is a significant mood changer and reliever of stress, working on many levels all at once. The entire human energetic system is extremely influenced by sounds. The physical body and chakra centers respond specifically to certain tones and frequencies. Special consideration should be given to the positive effects of one actually playing or creating music themselves. Among the first stress-fighting changes that take place when we hear a tune is an increase in deep breathing. The body's production of serotonin also accelerates. Playing music in the background while you're working has been found to reduce the stress of the workplace. Music was found to reduce heart rates and to promote higher body temperature, an indication of the onset of relaxation. Combining music with relaxation therapy has more effective than doing relaxation therapy alone. Many experts suggest that it's the rhythm of the music or the beat that has the calming effect on us, although we may not very consciously realize that. When in your mother's womb, we are influenced by the heartbeat of our mother. We respond to the soothing music at later stages in life, perhaps associating it with the safe, relaxing, protective environment provided by our mothers. Music can be one of the most soothing or nerve-wracking experiences available. Choosing what will work for any individual is difficult. Most will choose something they like instead of what might be beneficial. In doing extensive research on what any given piece of music produces in the psychological response system, many unexpected things were found. Many of the so-called meditation and relaxation recordings actually produced adverse EEG patterns, just as bad as hard rock and heavy metal. The surprising thing was many selections of Celtic, Native American, as well as various musics containing loud drums or flutes were extremely soothing. The most profound finding was that the music performed live and even at moderately loud volumes, even if somewhat discordant, had a very beneficial response. As we mentioned before, no single music is a good fit for everyone. People have different tastes, and it's important that you like the music that's being played. I recently picked up a rest and relaxation CD that has done wonders for me. It has the sounds of the ocean in the background while beautiful piano music plays. I find this very soothing. It's not a good idea to play ballads or songs that remind you of a sad time in your life when you're trying to de-stress. You're trying to relax and wash away the anxious thoughts. The last thing you need is for a sad song to bring up unhappy memories. Here's some general guidelines to follow when using music to de-stress. To wash away stress, try taking a 20-minute sound bath. Put some relaxing music on, then lie in a comfortable position on a couch or the floor near the speakers. For a deeper experience, you can wear headphones to focus your attention and to avoid distraction. Choose music with a slow rhythm, slower than the natural heartbeat, which is about 72 beats per minute. Music that has repeating or cyclical patterns is found to be effective in most people. As the music plays, allow it to wash over you, rinsing off the stress of your day. Focus on your breathing, letting it deepen, slow, and become regular. Concentrate on the silence between the notes in the music. This keeps you from analyzing the music and makes relaxation more complete. If you need stimulation after a day of work, go for a faster music rather than slow, calming music. Turn up the volume and dance. It doesn't matter if you can actually dance. Just move along with the music and do what feels good. You'll be shocked at the release you can feel. When the going gets tough, go for music that you're familiar with, such as childhood favorites or favorite oldies. Familiarity often breeds calmness. Take walks with your favorite music playing on your iPod or your MP3 player. Inhale and exhale in tune with the music. Let the music take you. Combining exercise, imagery, and music is a fantastic stress reliever. Listening to the sounds of nature, such as the ocean waves or the calm of a deep forest, can reduce stress. Try taking a 15 to 20-minute walk if you're near the seashore or a quiet patch of woods. If not, you can buy tapes with these sounds in many music stores. Another great relaxation technique is self-hypnosis. Self-hypnosis for stress. You can also practice self-hypnosis on your own. Find a quiet place where you can fully relax and listen to your inner voice. Don't try to make something happen, just let your mind listen and relax. A large part of achieving a hypnotic state is to allow it to actually happen. Don't watch for certain signs or signals that you might be in a hypnotic state. If you look for these signs and signals, you won't be able to fully relax and gain the benefits of self-hypnosis. There are lots of different ways to experience hypnosis. Although no two people will have exactly the same experience, everyone will find the hypnotic state pleasant. There are no bad trips in hypnosis. Keep in mind that your self-hypnosis is a skill and that you will continue to get better at it. The more experienced you become, the more powerful self-hypnosis is. Set up a schedule of practice, allowing yourself between 10 and 30 minutes of uninterrupted time. If possible, practice during the best part of your day, at a time when you're least likely to be disturbed by others. Most people find the best practice lying down in a comfortable position with as few distractions as possible. If you're bothered by noise while you practice, you can try to block out some of the other source with sound. You can try stereo music in the background or white noise if you like. If, like most people, you don't have a white noise generator, try tuning a radio receiver between stations. The static you get will be that's similar to white noise. However, this takes an older or cheaper FM receiver without a noise suppressor. Sometimes AM tuners can do this for you as well. This should just be the background noise and not too loud to be distracting. The basic divisions of hypnotic induction are relaxation, deepening, suggestion application, and termination. Number 1 is relaxation. Your first job in the hypnotic induction is to slow the juices down and get yourself relaxed. But don't try to force your mind to relax. If you get yourself physically relaxed, your mind will follow. Relaxation, really deep relaxation, is an ability that most people have either lost or never developed. Some people can do it quite easily. Others cannot. They just let go of their tensions and let every part of their body become limp and relaxed. If you're one of these people, begin your self-hypnosis practice by getting nicely relaxed. Take your time. This is not something that you want to rush. The time involved for the relaxation phase of your self-hypnosis induction can vary from half an hour to just a few seconds. It's an important part of the induction and should not be slighted. As you get better at and your skills increase, you'll recognize deeply relaxed states and you'll be able to achieve them in a surprisingly short time. But as a beginner, take your time. It will be time well spent. A very popular method of deep relaxation is the Jacobson Progressive Relaxation Procedure. This involves tensing each of the major muscle groups of your body, your foot and your lower leg on each side, upper leg and hip, abdomen, etc. Tense the muscle groups for a few seconds and then let go. Number 2 is the deepening procedures. Once you've completely relaxed and your relaxation phase is complete of your self-hypnosis induction procedure, you can begin the deepened relaxation state. At some time between the deep relaxation and the deepening procedures, you will move into a hypnotic state. You probably won't know it, especially as a beginner, but it will happen sooner or later. One of the first hurdles a beginner must get over is the compulsion to watch for it. That is, you'll keep waiting for hypnosis to happen, for some change in your awareness or the way that you feel, that you will say to you, "Oh, you're hypnotized." Watching for hypnosis will definitely get in your way if you don't get it out of your mind. Going into a hypnotic state in this respect is similar to going to sleep. If you try to catch yourself going to sleep, if you try to be aware of the precise instant in which you actually go to sleep, you're much less likely to go to sleep. Watching keeps you awake. In the same way, you will not know when you go into a hypnotic state, but that won't be because you lost consciousness. You just won't. Later, after you have been practicing regularly for a few weeks or a month or two, you'll be much more familiar with yourself, and you'll know how it feels to be hypnotized. Does it take everyone weeks or even months to get into a good hypnotic state? Definitely not. Some people have an amazing experience the very first time they try it. Others might practice for several days, noticing nothing, and then suddenly They have one of those great induction sessions in which they know something stupendously good happened. But if you're not one of those people, don't worry about it. Just keep practicing and it will eventually get there. One of the most popular deepening procedures is called the countdown technique. Hollywood also likes this one. That's why you see it in so many movies, and that's this with the swing of a watch. To use the countdown technique, you simply start counting backward from, say, 20 or 100 or whatever you prefer. Adjust the countdown number to what feels right, and after you have practiced several times. Imagine that you're drifting deeper with each count. Other images and thoughts will probably intrude themselves as you count. It's natural. Just gently brush them aside, continuing on with your counting. The speed with which you count down should be natural, not too fast, not too slow. For most people, this means counting at a rate of about 1 count for every 1 or 2 seconds. Do it at a rate that feels comfortable and relaxed to you. Some people like to tie their count with their breathing. As they drift deeper, their breathing slows down, so their counting also slows down. Don't count out loud. Just think the way that you count and keep counting down. You want to avoid as much physical involvement and movement as possible. Number 3, suggestion application in self-hypnosis. Once you've reached the end of your deepening procedure, you're ready to apply suggestions. What you've done during the relaxation and deepening process is to increase your suggestibility. That is, you've opened up your subconscious mind at least a little bit to receive your suggestions. This works because of the particular and peculiar characteristics of the subconscious mind. The most common and easiest way to apply suggestions is to have them worked out ahead of time, properly prepared, worded, and memorized. It should not be too difficult to remember them because they should be rather short, and you're the one who composed them. If you have them ready and remembered, you can simply think your way through them at this point. Dialogue, or more properly monologue, is also okay. You just talk inside your head to yourself about what it is that you want to do, to become, or whatever. Don't say you. This is about you, so make sure when you think, you do it in the first person. For example, I'm eating less and becoming more slender every day. Elaborated suggestions are generally wordier and more of an ad lib. Food is becoming less important to me every day, and I'm filling my time with more important and meaningful pursuits than eating. It's just getting easier and easier to pass up desserts and other fattening foods, and so on. Generally speaking, the most effective kind of suggestion is image suggestion. Image suggestions usually do not use language at all. You can liken this to seeing yourself in a calm, relaxed state while in the middle of a chaotic situation. Actually, see yourself in your mind's eye. Although people sometimes see immediate results from their suggestions, it's more likely that it's going to take a little bit of time for them to kick in, so don't be impatient. On the other hand, if you have not begun to see some results within, say, a couple of weeks, you need to change your suggestions. Number 4 is termination. Once you've finished applying suggestions, you can terminate your session. You could just open your eyes, get up, and go about your business, but that's not a good idea. You should formally identify the end of every session. By doing this, you provide a clear boundary between the hypnotic state and your ordinary conscious awareness. A clear termination also prevents your self-hypnosis practice sessions from turning up into a nap. If you want to take a nap, take a nap. If you don't do it in a way that sleeping becomes associated with self-hypnosis practice. If you're practicing at bedtime and you don't care if you go to sleep, that's okay. But still draw the line in your mind to indicate the end of your self-hypnosis session. To terminate the session, think to yourself that you're going to be fully awake and alert after you count up to 3. 1, I'm beginning to come out of it, moving toward a waking state. 2, I'm becoming more alert, getting ready to wake up. 3, I'm completely awake. Self-hypnosis can work wonders when it is practiced on a regular basis. You'd be amazingly surprised at the level of relaxation that you can get into. Now we'll move on to stress management techniques. Stress management. We know that stress is part of our lives, and there's no getting away from it. In fact, some stress is good stress. It can motivate you to do things that you would not do in a relaxed state. Stress can make you brave enough to go forward when normally you would hesitate. You have to be resilient in order to effectively cope with stress and help it enhance your life instead of controlling it. How do you get strong and resilient? By learning how to take control of your stress and make it work for you instead of against you. Recognizing stress symptoms can be a positive influence in that we're compelled to take action, and the sooner the better. It's not always easy to discern why you have the stress in each situation, but some of the more common events that trigger these emotions are the death of a loved one, the birth of a child, a job promotion, or a new relationship. We experience stress when we readjust our lives. Your body is asking for help when you feel these stress symptoms. There are three major approaches to managing stress. The first is the action-oriented approach. In this method, the problems that cause stress are identified and necessary changes are made to alleviate them. The next approach is emotionally oriented, where you overcome stress by giving a different color to the experience that caused stress. The situation which causes stress is seen humorously or from a different angle. Sometimes you can't avoid the stressor, but you can learn to see the humor instead of the doom. The third way is acceptance-oriented approach. This approach focuses on surviving the stress caused due to some problem in the past. The first stress management tip is to understand the root cause of your stress. No one understands your problem better than you do. A few minutes spent to recognize your true feelings can completely change the situation. During this process, identify what triggers the stress. Share this with a loved one if you can. If you're overstressed, you feel that you're going to collapse, take a breath and count to 10. This pumps extra oxygen into your system and rejuvenates your entire body. When under severe stress, meditate for a moment and pull out of the current situation for a little while. Stand up from your current position and walk. Stretch yourself, and soon you'll find that stress has lessened. This is because you have relaxed. Relaxation is the best medicine for stress. Smiling is another form of stress management. If you're in the workplace, just stand up and smile at your colleagues in the far corner. You'll see a change in your mood. You can also invent your own stress management tips. The basic idea is to identify the cause of stress and pull out from it for that moment, and then deal with it. Taking a short walk and look at nature can be another stress reliever. Drinking a glass of water or playing some small game. It's a simple stress management techniques. The whole idea is change the focus of attention. When you return to the problem, it does not look as monstrous. Here are 5 quick steps that you can take toward relieving stress. Number 1, don't just sit there. Move. According to many psychologists, motion creates emotion. When you're idle, it's easy to become depressed. Your heart rate slows down, less oxygen travels to your brain, and you're slumped somewhere in a chair, blocking air from reaching your lungs. Right now, regardless of how you are feeling, get up and walk around at a fast tempo. Even jump up and down a little bit. It may sound silly, but the results speak for themselves. Try it for a few minutes. It works like magic. Exercise can be a great stress buster. People with anxiety disorders might worry that aerobic exercise could bring on a panic attack. After all, when you exercise, your heart rate goes up. You begin to sweat, and your breathing becomes heavier. Don't panic. It's not an attack. Tell yourself this over and over while you're exercising. Realize that there's a big difference between the physical side of exercise and what happens when you exercise. Number 2, smell the roses. Go on that trip that you've been dreaming about. Visit an old friend. Paint a picture. Just do something for yourself. It'll jolt your imagination and spur your creativity and help you detach from your other daily routines. Number 3, help others cope with their problems. It's very therapeutic when you engross yourself in helping others. You will be surprised how many people's problems are worse than your own. You can offer others assistance in countless ways. Don't curl up in your bed and let depression take hold of you. Get out and help somebody. But be careful. Don't get caught up in other people's problems in an attempt to forget about your own. Number 4, laugh a little. You've heard that laughter is good internal medicine. It relieves tension and loosens the muscles. It causes blood to flow to the heart and the brain. More importantly, laughter releases a chemical that rids the body of pains. Every day, researchers discover new benefits of laughter. Let me ask you this question. Can you use a good dose of belly-shaking laughter every now and then? Of course you can. What are you waiting for? Go to a comedy club or rent some funny movies. Number 5, wear your knees out. If there were one sustainable remedy I could offer when the going gets tough, it would be prayer. Many people depend on their faith, might call it meditation. It doesn't matter what you call it as long as you have a place to run to. There are no quick fixes when you're feeling stressed, so want more? No problem. More stress management. Number 6, make stress your friend. Acknowledge that stress is good and make stress your friend. Based on the body's natural fight or flight response, that burst of energy will enhance your performance at the right moment. Top sportsmen are not relaxed before a big competition. Use stress wisely to push yourself that little bit extra harder when it counts the most. Number 7, stress is contagious. What we mean by this is that negative people can be a huge stress factor. Negativity breeds stress, and some people do nothing but complain. Don't get caught up in their downing behavior. Recognize that these kinds of people have their own stress, and then limit your contact with them. You can try to play stress doctor and teach them how to better manage their stress, but be aware that this may contribute more to your own stress, so tread lightly. Number 8, copy good stress managers. When people around you are losing their heads, watch for who keeps calm. What are they doing differently? What is their attitude? What language do they use? Are they trained and experienced? Figure it out from afar and then sit them down for a chat. Learn from the best stress managers and copy what they do. Number 9, use heavy breathing. You can trick your body into relaxing by using heavy breathing. Breathe in slowly for a count of 7, then breathe out for a count of 11. Repeat the 7-11 breathing until your heart rate slows down, your sweaty palms dry off, and things are starting to feel more normal. Number 10, stop stress thought trains. It is possible to tangle yourself up in the stress knot all by yourself. If you're constantly expecting the worst to happen and say negative things to yourself, for example, if this happens, then that might happen, and then we're all up the creek. Most bad things never do happen, so don't waste all the energy worrying needlessly. Give stress thought trains the red light and stop them in their tracks. Number 11, know your stress hotspots and trigger points. Presentations, interviews, meetings, giving difficult feedback, tight deadlines, these are all things that you can get that can get your heart racing. Make your own list of stress trigger points or hotspots and be specific. Is it only presentations to a certain audience that get you worked up? Does one project cause you more stress than another? Did you drink too much coffee? Knowing what causes your stress is powerful information, as you can take action to make it less stressful. Number 12, eat, drink, sleep, and be merry. Lack of sleep, poor diet, and no exercise wreaks havoc on your body and mind. Kind of obvious, but worth mentioning, as it's often ignored as a stress management technique. Listen to what your mother used to say, and don't burn the candle at both ends. Avoid using artificial means to dealing with your stress. That means don't automatically pour a glass of wine when you think you're about to get stressed out, and don't light up a cigarette. In actuality, alcohol, nicotine, caffeine, and drugs can make the problem worse. A better idea is to practice the relaxation techniques that you've learned here. Then, once you're relaxed, you can have a glass of wine if you want to. Number 13, go outside and enjoy Mother Nature. A little sunshine and activity can have an amazing ramification on your stress level and will enhance your entire outlook towards life. Your improved attitude will have a positive effect on everyone in your family and your circle of friends. Things that once seemed overwhelming will soon become trivial matters, causing you to wonder what the predicament was. Not only will you be less stressed, you'll be healthier, happier, and more energetic, ready to face whatever obstacles come your way. Number 14, give yourself permission to be a kid again. Be carefree and creative. Allow your freedom to express yourself, and don't worry that you're not keeping with the image of who you're supposed to be. Just relax and enjoy yourself. We all have an inner child. Let it free. Number 15, don't set unrealistic goals for yourself. Many people set themselves up for defeat simply by setting unrealistic goals. Whatever your goal is, allow sufficient time to reach it and realize that setbacks will probably happen. Number 16, learn that it's okay to say no occasionally. Many people feel that they have to say yes to everyone. You can't be all things to everybody. You must first meet your own needs before you can give to others. Number 17, make time for yourself your number one priority. Once your own needs are met, you'll find you have more time for others. And you may find more pleasure in helping others when you don't feel that you must always put others' needs before your own. Number 18. This is a great idea that works. Okay, ready? Yell. That's right. Scream at the top of your lungs as long as you can. While this may not be feasible in your home, it works great when you're in the car with the windows rolled up. Let out a guttural yelp from deep down inside. It's liberating. Number 19. Sing. Music is extremely beneficial to rid yourself of stress. Think how much better you'll feel when you belt out Copacabana at the top of your lungs. Who cares if you can't carry a tune? You're doing this for you. Number 20. Take up a new hobby like knitting or crocheting. Don't worry about being good at it. It's the process that's beneficial. Sitting still while performing repetitive movements is calming and stabilizing for many people. It can be time to collect your thoughts. Number 21. Start a garden. Even apartment dwellers can do this. Inside in pots on the patio, pots, a small spot in your yard, there's very little work to setting it up. Tending plants, fruits, vegetables, flowers, and watching them grow and bloom or yield food is rewarding. Avid gardeners say working in a garden is the best way to control stress and worry. An added benefit is the creation of a more beautiful, restful environment. Number 22. Play with a dog or a cat. Experts say pet owners live longer lives and fewer stress symptoms than non-pet owners. Playing with your pet provides good vibrations for you and the pet. It's a form of social interaction with no pressure to meet anyone's expectations. Number 23. Look at the stars and the moon. It can be a very humbling experience to lay on a blanket with your hands behind your head and gaze up into the night sky. It's more than humbling. It's downright beautiful and relaxing. Number 24. Treat yourself to some comfort food, but be careful or overeating could become your big stressor. Enjoy in moderation and you'll feel better. Number 25. Swing. Remember the feeling of sitting inside that little piece of leather on the playground as you sway back and forth and feel the wind whipping through your hair? Well, do that. If you don't have a swing in your yard, go to the playground and remember to pump your legs back and forth and see how high you can go. Number 26. Take a candle-lit bubble bath. Even men will benefit from a warm bath bathed in the soft glow of candlelight. Lay your head back, feel the bubbles in the warm water, and let your stress go right out the window and down the drain. Now that you have 26 ways to relax and de-stress, you can come up with your own as well. The key really is to find something that makes you feel better when you're overwhelmed and practice that method faithfully. You'll be a healthier person overall. Just say no. This is a big issue, so let's look at it more closely. A huge problem people who are overly stressed have is the ability to say no. Maybe your mother wants you to take grandma to the store, but you're in the middle of a big work project. Perhaps your best friend asks if you wouldn't mind babysitting her kids when you've already made plans with yourself to get your hair cut. There's no reason why you have to say yes to everybody. In fact, there are often times when you should turn them down. If you find yourself agreeing to do things when you really don't want to, you're a people pleaser. Sounds like a nice trait to have, but it's a huge stressor. People pleasers think of other people's needs before their own. They worry about other people, what they want, think, or need, and spend a lot of time doing things for others. They rarely do things for themselves, and then they feel guilty when they do. It's hard work being a people pleaser. People pleasers hold back saying what they really think. They don't ask for things that they would really like, and they think if someone will be upset with them if they do ask. Yet they often spend time with people who don't consider their needs at all. In fact, people pleasers often feel driven to make insensitive or unhappy people feel better, even at the detriment to themselves. Constantly trying to please other people is draining, and many people pleasers feel anxious, worried, unhappy, and are tired a lot of the time. They may not understand why no one does anything for them when they do so much for others, and yet they don't ask for what they need. A people pleaser may believe that if they ask someone for help and that person agrees, that person would be giving out of obligation, not because they really wanted to. The thinking goes, if they really wanted to help, they would have offered without me asking. This line of thinking happens because people pleasers themselves feel obliged to help and do not always do things because they want to. Sadly, people pleasers have been taught that their worth depends on doing things for others. When they do take a moment for themselves, they feel selfish, indulgent, and guilty, which is why they're often on the go, rushing to get things done. Since people pleasers accomplish so much and are easy to get along with, they are often the first to be asked to do things. They're vulnerable and they begin to be taken advantage of. People pleasers were most likely raised in homes where their needs and feelings were not valued, respected, or considered important. They were often expected as children to respect to or to take care of other people's needs, or they may have been silenced, neglected, or otherwise abused, thus learning that their feelings and needs were not important. In many cultures, girls were raised to be people pleasers, to think of others' needs first, and to neglect their own. Most women have at least some degree of people-pleasing in them. Men who identified with their mothers often do as well. People pleasers' focus is mostly on others and away from themselves. They often feel empty or don't know how to feel or what they think or what they want to focus on themselves. It's possible to change this pattern starting now. First, practice saying no. This is a very important word. Say it as often as you can, just to hear it and how it comes out of your mouth. Say it out loud when you're alone. Practice phrases with no in them, such as, no, I can't do that, or no, I don't want to go there. Try it for simply practice, and then build your way up to harder situations. Stop saying yes all the time. Try to pause or take a deep breath before responding to someone's request. You may want to answer requests with, I need to think about that first, and I'll get back to you. Or, let me check my schedule and I'll call you back. Use any phrases that you feel comfortable with that gives you time before you automatically respond with a yes. You'll feel guilty when you start it, but it won't always be so. Remember that your mental health is well worth the aggravation that you may have to take it from others. What's important is you. Figure out what gives you pleasure. For example, you may like reading magazines, watching videos, going to a park, or listening to music. Give yourself permission to do those things and then enjoy them. Ask someone to help you with something. I know this is a hard one, but you can do it. After all, everyone else is asking you for favors. Be tolerant if they turn you down. Just because you have always told them yes doesn't mean they always have to tell you yes. Many people pleasers believe that nobody will like them if they stop doing things for other people. If this happens, then you are just being used, and it's better that those people aren't in your life anyway. People enjoy your company for who you are and not what you do. You deserve to take time for yourself, so say no and take care of yourself without feeling guilty. It's within your reach to change, one small step at a time. Take a break. So often, we know inside ourselves that we need a break. That break might be a full-fledged vacation or a weekend getaway. Either way, getting out of the daily grind can be amazingly liberating and a huge way to get rid of stress and anxiety. Unfortunately, many people think that they can't take time to get away. This is toxic thinking. Get out and get away. How many times have you continued working knowing that you're not giving 100% to the task at hand? How many times have you read or written the same sentence over and over again as your mind keeps wandering and thinking about other things? How often have you wanted to take a break from the family or kids but feared the consequences of doing so? It's time to take a break. Why do we not allow ourselves the time to take a time out? Perhaps we feel like we don't deserve it or that there's just not enough time. There are many genuine reasons for needing to complete jobs and tasks. However, we may also on occasion have hidden agendas as to why we cannot stop for a break. Why? Ego. Some people enjoy boasting about how late they can work in order to complete a project or how much effort they invested in order to complete a job so quickly. This type of person is often looking to impress others with their efforts, thereby increasing their ego in the process. Or perhaps you think that you can't take time off. I can't stop. I just have to get this finished. Does that sound familiar? I can't stop because the job has to be finished? Why? So I can move straight on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing? This person will find that there is always something that has to be done, which will consistently prevent him or her from taking a break. You feel that you need to be needed. A mother managing the household, kids, and other chores may feel that if her household will collapse if she were to put up her feet and take the weekend off. By not taking a break, she can keep convincing herself that her role is crucial and the family would collapse without her. This may be true, but it won't happen because she's taken the time off for herself. Get rid of that thinking. You can get some amazing benefits just by taking a little time for yourself, allowing your mind and your body to rest and help refocus your attention, sharpen your wits, and increase motivation. In addition, taking time out helps to relieve stress. It can aid in the recovery of tired muscles and also promotes the discovery that there is often more to life than just work. Many athletes will tell you that the important part of their training routine is rest. Muscles need time to repair after a workout. Remember that your brain is a muscle too. It needs time to rest and recuperate in order to perform at its best. By giving your brain time off, you'll be able to better communicate and concentrate. Tasks that you once struggled with will be easier. A break can be anything from a 10-minute meditation session to a trip around the world and anything in between. A break needs you to take your mind off everyday tedium of life. When you take this rest, you absolutely cannot feel guilty about it. You need the time off, so enjoy it. You'll be a much better mother, father, wife, or husband for it. If you're feeling tired, unmotivated, or just need time to relax, don't be a martyr or look negatively at this. You may actually find that in reality, allowing yourself a break will actually help you ultimately become more efficient and effective in every part of your life. Plus, you'll get the badly needed recharging of your batteries that you need to and sorely deserve. Work can probably be one of the most stressful places to be. You might think that none of these techniques can help you when you're around your coworkers. You couldn't be more wrong. Relaxing at work. Some of the suggestions in this book can certainly be practiced at work. Here's a tried and true method that you can use to relax at work. First and foremost, find a place to sit. Sit up straight with your back against the back of your chair, your feet flat on the floor, and your hands resting lightly on your thighs. If possible, close your eyes. You may do the exercise without closing your eyes, but closing your eyes will help you relax a bit more. Do not clench your eyes shut. Let your eyelids fall naturally. Breathe in slowly through your nose, counting to 5. Hold the breath for a count of 5, and then breathe out slowly, counting to 5, and repeat. This exercise is performed by tensing and holding a set of muscles for a count of 5, and then relaxing the set of muscles for a count of 5. When you tense each muscle set, do it as hard as you can without hurting yourself. When you release the hold, be as relaxed as possible. Begin by tensing your feet. Do this by pulling your feet off the floor and your toes toward you, while keeping your heels on the floor. Hold for a count of 5. Release the hold. Let your feet fall back gently, and then feel the relaxation. Think about it, how it feels compared to when you've tensed the muscles. Then relax for a count of 5. Next, tense your thigh muscles as hard as you can. Hold for a count of 5, and then relax the muscles for a count of 5. Then tighten your abdominal muscles. Hold for a count of 5, relax the muscles for a count of 5, and be sure you're continuing to sit up straight. Tense your arm and hand muscles by squeezing your hands first into fists as hard as you can. Hold for about 5, relax the muscles completely for a count of 5. Then tighten your upper back by pushing your shoulders back if you are trying to touch your shoulder blades together. Hold for a count of 5, relax for a count of 5. Tense your shoulders by raising them towards your ears as if shrugging, and hold it for a count of 5, relax for a count of 5. Tighten your neck, first by gently moving your head back as if looking at the ceiling, and holding for 5, relax for 5. Then gently drop your head forward and hold for 5, and relax for 5. Tighten your face muscles. First, open your mouth wide and hold for 5, relax for 5. Then raise your eyebrows up high and hold for 5, and relax for 5. Finally, clench your eyes tightly shut, hold for 5, relax, with your eyes gently closed for 5. Finish the exercise with breathing. Breathe in slowly through your nose, counting to 5, and then hold the breath for a count of 5. Breathe out slowly, counting to 5, and repeat 4 times, and that's it. Perform this exercise whenever you need to relax, whether it's on the plane or in a car or any place else that you might be sitting. Because the exercises may be very relaxing, it should not be performed while driving. Over time, if performed regularly, these exercises will help you recognize tension in your body. You'll be able to relax muscles at any time rather than performing the entire exercise. Perform at least twice a day for long-term results. You may develop your own longer relaxation exercises by adding more muscle groups. Pinpoint your own areas of tension, then tense and relax the areas at the same way. Maximize the relaxation benefits of this exercise by visualizing a peaceful scene at the end of the exercise. Visualize a scene, a place where you feel relaxed, in detail for at least 5 minutes. Remember the happy place? Go there and enjoy it. Conclusion. There's no way to completely eliminate stress from your life. What you can do is learn how to make the stress work for you. Stress management isn't as difficult as it might actually seem. However, if you think you have too much stress in your life, it may be helpful to talk with your doctor, spiritual advisor, or local mental health association. Reactions to stress can be a factor in depression, anxiety, and other disorders. They might suggest that you visit a psychiatrist, psychologist, social worker, or other qualified counselor. The author is not a medical professional. This book should not be used as a tool that will help you cope with stress. Stress management tips are simple, cost-effective methods to effectively check your stress. They can be practiced almost anywhere at any time. Stress is a normal part of life, and in small quantities it's good. It can motivate you to help you become more productive. However, too much stress or a strong response to stress is harmful. It can set you up for generally poor health as well as specific physical or psychological illnesses like infection, heart disease, or depression. Persistent and unrelenting stress often lends to anxiety and unhealthy behaviors like overeating and abuse of alcohol or drugs. Just like the causes of stress differ from person to person, what relieves stress is not the same for everyone. In general, however, making certain lifestyle changes as well as finding healthy, enjoyable ways to cope with stress helps most people. Above all, remember that there is no way alone in this battle. There are hundreds of thousands of people who are out there who feel overwhelmed. Hopefully, you'll find peace with yourself and enjoy life to its fullest. When you feel yourself stressed out or best with a panic attack, relax, breathe through it, and know that there are many, many people who feel exactly the same way that you do.